Okay, so we left you two traveling to the IKS Qel'thoq aboard a Klingon shuttle with Captain Gowry and his security officer departing from the Drake. And you were off to basically use the scans that the USS Lexington had provided years ago, use Federation sensor calibrations and pair them with Klingon sensor information and see if you can detect where this Gom'rok is, who is allegedly developing planet killer weapons to eradicate Klingons who are infected with the augment virus. And Gowry requested Lieutenant Sova to facilitate and help with those scans, and he requested Captain Knightley because, unbeknownst to all of the crew, Gowry seems to be Captain Knightley's biological uncle. So that's where we find you two. And this episode is entitled The Facility. Is there anything that you guys want to talk about or do or anything like that before we put you on the ship?
Can I attempt to meditate to focus? Because this is probably going to be awful.
Okay, yeah. If you can roll me a command presence, difficulty 2,
Oh boy.
and succeed, I will let you re-roll anything when you're on a Klingon thing.
No.
No, okay.
I tried,
So,
but the smell was too much.
yeah,
Yes.
exactly. So you're able to obviously like center yourself, but you can't get to a place where it's enough to actually benefit you. So you guys dock with the Kelthok and aboard the ship, and Gowry says, "Ah, Captain, please join me in my ready room. Lieutenant, you may follow this back here. He will take you to your quarters before we take you to the bridge."
Understood.
So off you two go. So you follow Gowry to the ready room, Captain.
Mm-hmm.
So the door's open to his ready room. In his ready room is like a very traditional looking like Klingon technology kind of desk, kind of similar to yours, but more rudimentary and not as like streamlined and clean.
Okay.
He has a lot of armaments and weapons and things up on the wall. You can kind of tell that he's put trophies and things up on there. You don't really know what they are. Some are skulls, some are items like trinkets, but they're not, you don't know what they mean. He walks over to his chair. There's two other chairs in the room. He walks behind the desk and sits down. And he says, Captain, I have much to share with you, but I'm sure you want to ask me many questions. And now we have true privacy where just the two of us can talk.
I think that Knightley is not ready. Like, she's acting like she doesn't care to have any of her questions answered.
Okay.
So she's just going to say to him, well, why don't you just tell me what I need to know to complete this mission?
So roll me a command presence and tell me how many successes you get.
Got two successes.
So I guess I would win because we both tied. We both had two successes. And Gowry was trying to gauge what you just said. Like, are you actually not bothered and just moving on, or are you bothered? Essentially.
Okay. Okay.
And so I'm gonna say that because I succeeded, unless you want to take stress and roll again, he's gonna kind of know that you're being untruthful. Like he'll see past the facade.
Okay, I mean, that's fine. Yeah, I've already told him I don't want anything to do with him, so I don't really care what he thinks.
Okay. So Gowry sits there for a good couple seconds and just kind of stares at you. And then he says, I see, Captain. Well, we are looking for a hidden facility. Intelligence points to the fact that Gom'rok has a hidden facility somewhere nearby. We're not 100% sure where it is. It is in Klingon space, but close enough. And we believe he is developing planet killer weapons to eradicate infected Klingons. What we need to do is analyze the sensor information so that we can compare it to our technology and be able to use those two things together and scan for his cloaked vessel. Right now, his cloaked vessel does not come up on our sensors.
I'll say to him, my lieutenant will be happy to get to work on analyzing the scans from the Lexington right away. He doesn't really need rest.
Well, I hope that your lieutenant understands as much as you do that not only is this preventing genocide, but it is saving the Klingon's honor to die in battle and not at the hands of a coward in space.
Him and I both care about preventing genocide.
So he stands up, he gestures for you to leave the ready room. He walks with you and he says, and remember, Captain, no matter what you hear from anyone else on the ship, this is not a matter of house versus house. This is a matter of all Klingons.
Keep that in mind.
I will see you on the bridge. And he ushers you out of his room and then he returns back into the ready room.
Okay, so he wants me so I'm on the bridge then.
So basically how it works is you come out, it's like a hallway, straight ahead is the turbo lift, and a couple steps to your left is the opening to the bridge.
So I walk out onto the bridge.
And it is just crazy because again, you guys Federation really hasn't gotten an amazing look at Klingon ships, especially this class. This is a D6 class vessel battle cruiser, and it is the step above the D5, which Starfleet knows. So what you see on the bridge is all these red and bronze colored stations, and there's multiple Klingons sitting there, and there's the big empty captain's chair and a big you can see the view screen. And so then a officer approaches you and he says, "Greetings, Captain. I am Vakthar, son of Saku. I am Gowry's first in command. We have this seat here available for you if you wish to sit."
Thank you, Commander, and I would sit.
He watches you sit, he turns around. And then you, Sova, have just gotten to the doors of where you guys will be, where you're both housed. And the security officer presses the buttons, and you look in, and there is it is a room. To the left is a closed door. There is a water basin coming out of the wall. There is a small desk with a uncomfortable chair, and then a flat platform, and that's it.
Nice.
Are we both being here or just me?
It's a two-person room.
Neat.
So we're both supposed to sleep on this big platform?
Yep.
Wonderful.
The security officer says to you, he says, "This is where you will be staying." And he says, "To your left here is," and as he says that, you hear a chirp out in the hallway. He says, "Excuse me," and he turns over to the wall and he presses it. And it's Gowry, and he's Captain Gowry, and he says, "Bring the Vulcan lieutenant to the bridge." He says, "Aye, sir, immediately." And so he walks back over to you and he says, "Lieutenant, you are requested on the bridge. Follow me."
Mm-hmm.
And he presses the door closed and he begins walking.
As we walk, I'll just ask him, what was that other room that you were pointing to?
"Oh, that is for your Vulcan waste."
Understood.
So you guys walk to the bridge and come up there, and Gowry comes out on the bridge. You both enter, all three of you enter the room at the time. The Beck stands outside in the hallway. He says, "Lieutenant, come to the science station and I will show you what I have. And he says, Kelt, move aside, move aside. And this Klingon gets up and he shows you their preliminary data, like this information that they have on Gom'rok's vessel.
Okay.
It's basically if somebody went into like a CAD program and like designed the ship.
Okay.
It is not something that they have actually scanned. It is something that they believe the ship to look like. So he says, but I know that you have the USS Lexington's information. I would like to begin comparing the two.
So I'd like to download it onto, so that way we can use the computer to compare them.
So this Klingon officer that was ushered out of the seat takes it, and you see him pull like this thing out of the console, and he's like looking at it, and he's like, you can see he's kind of like frustrated because the two technologies aren't going to work.
Mm-hmm.
And he pauses for a second, and then he's like, "We're going to have to call Nator to the bridge. These two technologies do not merge as I was hoping they would." And Gowrie goes, "Ah, bring Nator to the bridge." He walks off the bridge, and a few minutes go by, maybe 2 minutes, and this other Klingon comes onto the bridge. Now this Klingon doesn't have cranial ridges.
Mm.
He has a goatee, and he has hair and braids,
Mm-hmm.
and he has Klingon armor on, but he is very human in appearance. And so the officer, who you have heard been called Kelt, says, Nator, make these two things work together. And he comes over and he looks at Sova, and he kind of just looks at him like, okay, like, got it, Vulcan. And then he looks at you, Captain,
Okay.
and he kind of gives you kind of like a once over.
Okay. I'll return his skeptical looks.
And then he just kind of like squints at you and then
Okay.
continues to the pad, like the setup.
Okay.
So he begins putting the two things together. He slightly takes apart the pad a little bit, but not much, just mostly its casing. And over probably 20 minutes, he puts this thing together. Is there anything you guys would like to do in the 20 minutes?
The only thing I can think of is I'd like to analyze what they have to see how in depth.
Okay, yeah.
Because I figured I can't compare them, so I might as well just start checking out what they got so far.
Yeah, so roll a con insight, difficulty 1.
I need a 12. I did not get a 12.
Basically, your Vulcan mind is a little insulted with how rudimentary this thing is, and you almost like arrogantly ignore what they have because it's so simple. So 20 minutes go by, they get the two things connected, and now you can see the two things. And you watch as once that comes together and that, now the rudimentary image becomes a little bit, it becomes different, and it becomes a little bit more believable looking. It becomes more grounded in what you would expect a Klingon vessel to look like. All right, Sova, let's have you do Science Insight, difficulty 1,
All right, something I got a chance to do.
but
Oh,
but 19 and 20 are complications.
okay, I did not roll a 19 or 20. Skeptical would not work here, would it?
Yes.
Oh, it would work?
Yeah.
Because I rolled a 5 and a 16, so the 5 would count as 2 if I can use skeptical.
Yeah. So that is 2 successes?
Yep.
Yeah. So you get 1 momentum.
One moment.
Nice.
So Sova, you get this information. Basically, what you can tell is that the USS Lexington definitely scanned a vessel. Whether it was Klingon or not Klingon, You that's inconclusive. Not
Okay.
obviously there's not enough data present with Federation scans to know what they were scanning. But with the rudimentary thing that the Klingons have, you are able to theorize that these two things likely coincide. It doesn't seem like they're two separate ships, and that this crude rendering and the scans from the Lexington are completely different. But at the same time, it's not, as a Vulcan would want, irrefutable.
Because us Vulcans actually have standards.
That's that's right.
So Gowry comes back on the bridge after he was made aware that the thing was connected. And he says, Lieutenant, what have you found?
So combining our two sets of data, the computer is able to come up with a reasonable suggestion for what the ship is and what it looks like.
I don't want suggestions, though. I want exacts.
Well, we don't have enough data to create a exact.
Do you believe that we could use this data and find the ship?
I don't know how well we could use it, but it's definitely enough to get us started.
So then I would ask, I would say, what else do you need, Mr. Sova? Any ideas what we could collect to help you with this?
We have data from a ship that didn't know what they were scanning, and then we have reports from the Klingon, but it's hard for me to say, yes, this is definitely what it is without like hard evidence.
Right, I understand. We don't like to make assumptions. Is it possible for us to find the ship and make our own scans?
So I would ask, do you have like the frequency or do you have the type of disruptions in space that this cloaking device would cause, or that would make it easier to find them?
Well, we can take the information from the sensors that the Lexington had and put it in our computer and make broad sensor sweeps and see if we can locate the ship that way.
Okay. That seems like the most efficient way.
All right. So I have to roll this guy. So roll him. One of you can roll a single d20 for the ship, and that will be a 4. No, a 5. Excuse me, a 5.
Well, I got a 6, so it doesn't matter.
So eat it.
Okay, I have 2 successes. That was a difficulty 2, so that worked out. So you put all that information in. You take those two things together, put that together, and the con officer makes a broad scan of the thing of the sector around them, and he feels like there is evidence that if you begin in this direction, if you head in a certain direction, that if they keep a continuous scan going, that you may be led to something, may lead to his ship. So Gowry says, you concur that we should follow this, Lieutenant and Captain?
It seems to be our only option.
Mm.
If we want hard data, which we do.
Very good. He gives the order for the Qel'thoq to begin that direction, and they do continuous sweeps. He says, do you wish to go to the dining hall?
I think Sylvan and I would kind of look at each other. Right? And I would be like, like I don't really want to go to the dining hall and eat or watch. Like she's thinking to herself, like, no, I don't really have any interest in watching you eat worms and drinking blood.
When was the last time that we ate?
Well, you guys would actually probably be pretty hungry because basically what happened was you came out of the time loop, you dealt with Naboa, he boarded the ship, and then you guys were like, you, especially Sova, were like working on the ship nonstop. I think
Yeah,
the captain got a brief respite, so she probably had a cup of coffee and maybe like a small snack, but I don't think so.
right.
You've eaten. I think maybe you might have had time when you changed, You might have been able to have some tea or something, but that's about it. And
Okay.
that was, it's been hours at this point. So,
I would ask, do you have anything non-Klingon for us to dine?
no,
I'll say to him, I'll join you there shortly. Let me stop in my quarters first to grab some food.
understood. And
I
you,
would,
Lieutenant?
I would prefer to stay here and continue trying to analyze, but if rations could be brought to me,
I'll have somebody bring them to you.
okay. Thank you, Captain.
Correct.
Understood. I will meet you in the dining hall, Captain. And he walks out of the bridge and goes down to the turbo lift, and then the security officer leads you to your quarters.
Okay. And then I'll dig through our bags of rations and I'll pull one of Sova's out and hand it to the security officer and say, please bring this back to Mr. Sova on the bridge.
Yeah, I probably should have said earlier on that like Sova had the your guys like bags and brought them to the room when he
I
went.
I figured.
Yeah, okay.
Mhm.
So yeah, so you rustle through the bags. Obviously, it's not hard to get through Sova's material where the types of things that he brought because it's very organized.
Yes.
So you give the back to the security officer a Vulcan ration, like that specifically. It's not just like
Yes.
it's like a specific thing that he brought. And he says, "Very good, Captain." And the door closes and he progresses back to the bridge. So, what would you like to do, Captain? We'll say that while you're doing this thing, the security officer is bringing that Vulcan ration to Sova.
Yeah, I'll take a package of something. I don't care what, and head to the dining hall.
All right, give me three choices,
For what?
meals.
Oh, spaghetti and meatballs.
Okay. It's all going to be like MREs that are just going to taste like spaghetti and meatballs, but that's okay.
That's so gross. Pizza and chocolate cake.
Okay.
I believe that would be a dessert that was in the MRE.
I'm like,
Okay, now roll.
oops.
There would be dessert MREs. Why not, right? It's
I was just imagining Knightley like being grumpy and like bothered by all of this and just like rifling, just like grabbing crap and throwing it in a bag. And she's like, chocolate cake. Like, guess I'm eating cake for dinner.
okay. So roll a d6.
Okay.
If you get a blank or a three or a four, depending on what you're rolling, roll again.
I got a blank. I got a delta.
So that is pizza.
Nice. And
Yeah.
my favorite. I love
Yeah.
my pizza.
So you're gonna eat that here, or you're gonna eat it down in the dining room.
I'll eat it in the dining hall. Irritate them all.
Okay. So you get that pizza ration. You come back out, and there's a security officer by the door, and he leads you to the dining hall. And in that time that she was getting her rations ready, the security officer comes back to the bridge, Sova, and he hands you the thing from your bag, which is like a Vulcan MRE.
Thank you. I would thank him and take it and open to eat it. I would like mine to be basically like a granola bar, just dried fruits and
Perfect. Perfect. No variety at all.
no, just whatever Vulcans eat, dried and smushed into a bar.
Perfect. I like it. I like it a lot. So you enjoy that on the bridge. We cut to Knightley walking into the dining hall, and you see not a ton, but a scattering of Klingons in here eating meals. And when you boarded the ship, it smelt bad.
Mm-hmm.
When you were on the bridge, it smelt pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
You've come into the dining hall.
And
It
it
smells
smells
very bad.
horrific, huh?
Very bad.
Okay. Okay.
And as you look around, there is literal open barrels full of liquid,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and there is an assortment of raw animals that are dead.
Okay.
You don't even know what half of them look like. Some of them look like things you've seen, some of them don't look like things you've seen. And there are a particular two or three in one corner, and they are eating like they have never eaten before in their life.
Okay. Okay.
And
I,
yeah,
and I'll just kind of look at them and just go, "Ugh," just shudder a little bit.
and you look over at Gowry, and he is eating what you could sort of say looks like if you took a turkey leg and like wrapped it in like carpeting.
Ugh,
That's
that's
what it
so
was.
that's so gross. Okay.
Yeah.
So I just go to his table and sit down
And he
very
sees you and
uncomfortable,
he
very
and he
uncomfortably.
he slaps down
No, he does
the
not.
leg and he says, Captain. He's
He's very
very happy to
pleased.
see you.
And
Ah,
I jump. I like startle a little
no, no.
bit.
Please, please, please. Sit, sit, sit.
And then I
And then
very hesitantly take a seat.
and as the second you sit down, he turns, he's like, bah, do that. And he's talking in Klingon to a couple over in the thing, and they come to attention and they hustle off behind some doors. And he says, oh, Captain, thank you for joining me. What are you eating?
I'll tell him it's Starfleet rations.
If I share mine, will you share yours?
I'll share mine, but you can keep yours. Yeah,
Mm.
no, that's all right.
Have you never had? And he says a crazy Klingon word.
And I'll say, no, we don't serve that on Federation starships.
Mm.
Ooh, is it gak?
No, no,
No.
it's like a big animal leg, like a roasted animal leg. Yeah,
Oh, it's cooked at least.
yeah.
Maybe she would try it
Okay,
if it's
up to you.
cooked.
Yeah, I mean it looks roasted.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'll try it.
So he just hands you what he's already like been eating.
Gnawed on.
Yeah,
Oof. Okay. And
and
I would
it's
like break a
and
piece of my
so
hard.
when he hands it to you, it's wet, it stinks, it's immediately oily in your hand.
It stinks.
Oh, it smells real bad.
Why does it smell bad?
That's how they
Just
like it.
because.
Yeah, it's just that's just what it is. He's eating it just fine. He's not having any problem with it.
Is
He's
it
in
like
fact taking big, large portions of it are gone.
so I would be like take a tiny little piece of my teeth.
So you do that, and it's really tender, actually. It's not stringy, it's not weird, it's not
Hmm.
chewy, it's really tender, but it tastes like a mixture of reptile and like motor oil.
Oh, okay. Gross.
Yeah.
So she would not like it and be like, thank you. And then break off a piece of
And he
her
takes it
bar and
and he looks at it in his hands and he smells it. It has no odor.
I'll say, I'll say, yeah, that's how we like our food.
Your adopted parents never fed you Klingon meals.
And then I get real any any humor that I had found in his reaction or whatever falls from my face and I say I don't want to talk about that.
That was likely insensitive of me. I find it hard to talk to one of the last family members of House Dokai,
Hmm.
but I will enjoy your biscuit. And he eats it. He kind of does basically what you did with the roasted thing. He eats it very small, and then you see him be like, nope.
Yeah,
But he's trying to also be like, mmm. But
right.
it's really obvious that he doesn't like it. And
That's
then he kind
funny.
of doesn't really eat a full amount of it, and he's just like, mm. But then he looks at you and he closes his eyes and puts all of it into his
Oh,
mouth. and he's chewing, and he's just like,
I'll tell him, well, if for some reason you end up on my ship, I'll feed you a real human dinner. This isn't what we normally eat. I was just messing with you. These are rations that are preserved and are
And he
they're only
slams on the table, and the dishes and stuff clatter. And he goes, "A joke!" and and he literally takes the other, like the three-fourths of the table next to you, and just obliterates all the, like, smashes all the plates and glasses like onto the ground. He's laughing.
That's hilarious.
And as that happens, two Klingons come over to the table, and they have brought plates
Oh no.
of gok, which you are familiar with,
Yes.
and some other weird, like, stew looking thing.
Okay.
And he says, "Ah, I see that you have enjoyed," long Klingon name. He says, "Would you enjoy?" And he says, "Gok." And then he says something else.
What is the other thing?
So the other thing, like it basically looks like this kind of like minestrone beef stew type thing.
Okay. Is it cooked?
It's hard to tell.
Okay, I'll ask him say what's in that? And I point to the
He says, "Well, it is the embryos
no.
of the tiniest little rodent on Klingon. And we boil
Oh,
them until they expand with their own gases, and
that's
then
so gross.
we pour their own juices on it.
No, they
The
do
mother's
not.
juice on it is a delicacy.
I'll say, oh, I'll stick with my ration. Thank you,
Mm,
though.
I understand, Captain. And he grabs the plate of this thing and he slides it over in front of him. And he downs a good quarter of whatever's in his drink. And then he just starts slurping out of the bowl. And you hear so much crunching and smacking and slurping.
Crunching.
Oh, there are just so many noises you don't want to hear.
It's disgusting.
While that's happening down in the dining hall, we cut back to Sova on the bridge.
Yes.
And the few minutes that have gone by, you guys are starting to feel like you're on the right track. The readings are getting more intense, they're getting more clearer, right? It's not as much dispersal in the scans. And they say, "Okay, we're about to cross over into Klingon territory. We have to make no mistakes here with having Starfleet officers on board. We will have to pass several checkpoints. Please do not cause any issue."
Understood.
So you proceed. They hit their first checkpoint. Not really a big deal. It's just you up on the bridge as long as you get out of the way, which obviously you would. It's not really anything concerning. They get to a point in the scans where they feel like it's either going to the left, which is heading towards a planet, or it's heading towards a nebula. They cannot determine which path is up to date. So they defer to you
Oh, wonderful.
to suggest which direction to go.
And is there anything I can check for, like disturbances in subspace
Yeah,
or
sure. Yeah.
okay, I would like to
That sounds good. And that sounds like an extended task.
oh boy.
Oh my God.
I had to open my mouth.
So it's science control,
Science control.
difficulty 2,
Fantastic. I got a 15 for that.
and it's a resistance of 3,
Oh
and it's a
boy.
work track of 5.
Am I allowed to use any of my, because I have radioactivity, hand-to-hand, geology, bioscan, skeptical, and zoology for focuses. Can I use any of them?
Radiation's fine.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna use the momentum, so I
Yep.
can do 3.
Yep.
We're going to start it off. How did I miss? I didn't get a single one. All right, so just roll again, or because it's just a waste of
Um,
time, right?
yeah, just a waste of time. Yep.
Okay. All right, I got 2 that time.
2 successes?
Yep.
Okay, so what's your number is a 5 for science?
Yep.
Okay, roll again.
None of my talents would help me. I have one success.
Okay.
So I roll again. I failed again. Wow, I am just rolling. Let me switch dice or something. I don't know. There we go. Two successes.
Okay, so now going forward, it's a difficulty 1 and a resistance of 2, and you only have one on the track left.
Okay. So I roll again. I got one success. I rolled the 19. That doesn't matter, does it?
Nope.
Okay.
So one success, no momentum. You complete the track.
Okay.
Nice work,
So
Mr. Sova.
that took almost an hour. We'll say that with the couple failures that it's really inconclusive which way to go,
Okay.
but it would make sense that a dense nebula would interfere with sensor scans,
Okay.
and that would be likely where a ship would hide.
Okay. So I would inform the crew that this is not conclusive, but the most likely direction the ship would go is the nebula.
Hmm. I understand, Lieutenant, based off of what you have here on the screen. I concur. But please understand, you cannot tell Gowry that you guess or that you think. You must say with conviction that this is the way to go.
I just roll my eyes and go, I will keep that in mind.
So Gowry is called to the bridge. He requests you, Captain, to follow him to the bridge.
Okay, so I'll get up and walk behind him.
Gowry comes to the bridge and he sees the nebula and he says, Gom'rok has hidden himself in the nebula, correct?
It would seem so, Captain.
Hmm. And he pauses and he kind of paces on the bridge for a minute. And he says, our sensors are not going to be able to penetrate the nebula. We will bring an away team close enough to the nebula, but we will not go into the nebula. We will not be of any assistance to the team inside the nebula. I believe that we can use a shuttle to enter it, and we can put on technology that will be even more sensor jamming so they will never find our shuttle. Do you concur?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, Zenny.
Here is the card game, he says.
Okay,
I believe only you two should go on the shuttle.
why is that?
Come with me into my ready room, Captain and Lieutenant.
Okay,
So the two of you go into his ready room. He doesn't go behind the desk and sit. He stands, in a way so you both can come in. The door closes, and he says, as I have mentioned earlier to you, Captain, there are some on board who believe this is a House Dokai issue versus another house.
okay, understood.
It's not the case. I trust my men to a degree, but I do not trust for them to go into this nebula and come across something that changes their mind. Gom'rok is clearly persuasive and could lead more Klingon, more warriors to join his side and continue exterminating those who are clearly still Klingon.
I understand. I have no problem going over. How about you, Mr. Sova?
Follow your lead, Captain.
Okay,
So
we'll take care of it.
I should warn of we need to be careful, obviously.
Of course.
Very
What?
good. Well, if you have nothing further, we can escort you to the shuttle bay.
Okay, let's get it started.
So, go down to the shuttle bay, get in. You watch as a couple Klingon officers bring in this technology that they're hooking up to the shuttle, like up at the council. Let's have you, Sova, roll an engineering insight difficulty 1.
12. I got one success.
So when you see them hooking up the machine, Lieutenant, that you basically are able to surmise that this is the signal jamming, like sensor jamming equipment that they're hooking into the council. Gowry, next to his science officer, Qel'thoq, says, I have been informed that there are pockets of radiation, gravitational anomalies, and ionic storms inside the nebula. Be careful. And as soon as you find something, report it to me.
Do we have different communication?
There would be like typical away team like communicators on the shuttle though that Klingons have.
Okay.
You do also have your communicators from Starfleet that have universal translators attached to them. That's how you're understanding Gowry and everything.
Right. Okay.
They are consistently talking in Klingon. They're not talking. Gowry talks in English a little bit, but not a lot.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, let's get to it then.
You enter the shuttle. Sova, for once, it smells way nicer. It doesn't smell good, but it smells much better inside the shuttle than on the ship. So you detach from the Qel'thoq and begin your journey into the nebula. As you reach the first layer of the nebula, the outer layer of it, you immediately see on sensors some sort of device is doing scans. It's just out in space, just floating. This like little thing is floating out in space. So that is a con daring difficulty 2,
I have a
assisted by the
12.
shuttle, which is a 3.
I have a 12.
Okay. And then so I'll be the shuttle.
I
I
did
did
not
not.
succeed.
Me either.
So you get hit with a sensor sweep by this thing. And fortunately, nothing seems to change.
Okay.
Seems
That's
like either
good.
it doesn't, it's not bothered by a Klingon shuttle being in here, it didn't scan the shuttle, or it's not what you think it is. You are mostly flying blind once you enter the nebula.
Great.
Sensors don't really work. So you're just basically looking out the view screen and like you can get the like immediate, probably 500 meters away from the ship kind of a thing. So pick a direction and let me know where you're going.
I guess let's head more into it.
Like down the into the core, you're kind of saying?
Yeah, I guess so,
Okay.
right? That's kind
Okay.
of the
Okay. You progress this direction, and let's have you guys roll a con presence difficulty 1, and 18, 19s, and 20s are complications.
I have a 10 for that. What do you have?
I have a 11.
So you have a better roll than I do.
And you can assist, the shuttle can assist with a 3.
Okay. I'll try for a 3, even though I have a
Oh,
1.
I
First
got a
time.
I got an 18.
You got an 18?
Don't sound so excited.
So you get an alert on the shuttle that the shuttle is being scanned.
Okay.
You don't know from what. You can make one decision and we'll see what happens.
Oh my God. Okay, so I would say to Sova, we're being scanned, but I can't tell from what.
Is there anyone who
Um,
can block it?
Well, it's already been blocked, right? The equipment is blocking it.
Okay.
But you are actually that you can tell that the shuttle is being scanned.
can we turn power off so that we can't be detected as easily, or they can't detect what it is?
Now they'd still be able to tell what it is if they can scan it.
All right, let's just stop thrusters or whatever. Let's just
Okay. Okay. Now roll again con presence 0. Roll that again with an assist by the ship of a 3, the shuttle.
I'll roll for the ship. Nope.
I got a 9, so I am within parameters this time.
So 1 momentum.
All right.
And when you guys watch out of the glass of the ship, not too far above, but high enough, you see a Klingon ship, and you can ascertain by the shuttle being scanned that they are doing routine scans of the nebula.
Okay,
Ooh.
interesting.
It doesn't seem like they're not talking to you, they're not open firing, nothing's happening.
Doesn't seem like we've been detected. Or maybe they've detected us, but they don't care.
You don't know.
And they're passing us now?
They're passing.
Okay. So when they're out of immediate sensor range, let's go back to thrusters or whatever it's
And
called.
continue
Impulse.
in what direction?
Same way we were going.
Okay. So you anxiously watch, I guess Sova would just calculatedly watch as the Klingon vessel progresses away from both eyesight and immediate sensors. And you then continue thrusters deeper into the core of the nebula. As you continue going, let's have you both roll con insight. It'll both be difficulty 2, but you both
Both
can
of
roll.
us?
Yep, you're both looking out the window.
I got
Roll.
one success for me.
I
One
got
and
one
one.
as well.
You can see out the window a freighter of some sort, a Klingon freighter of some sort, but you can't really tell much more. It's not moving.
Can we run some scans?
You can, but you'd have to get very close to the ship. You'd have to get close enough where they likely could see you out windows.
Let's continue ahead, but maneuvering the
Around.
opposite direction. Yeah.
It might be abandoned. We might be able to find answers from it.
Well, can we put a marker on so we can like find it again?
You could mark an approximate thing,
Mm-hmm.
but that would be like putting a flag down on a field and then blindfolding yourself and then trying to find the flag again.
But this seems like a one, like now or never.
Okay. What kind of weapons systems do we have?
You have like simple disruptors.
That's it.
That's it.
I'm just trying to determine if we got into a scuffle, if we could come out alive.
Okay, roll a con insight difficulty 1.
I guess that's me. I I finally got something. I got
Yay!
3 successes.
Oh
Wow.
wow. Oh wow. So you got a
Holy
1 and
Lanta.
another success?
I got a 1 and a 12, which is
Wow, wow. Okay, yeah. So with that, so that's two momentum. With that, that's great. You are able to determine that if this was going to go sideways, the shuttle could easily outmaneuver the freighter. May not outpower it, outgun it, but it could easily outmaneuver it.
Okay. Well, that's fine. I don't mind it running away. I just don't want to die.
Yeah, that's my point. Is that the shuttle, if you're getting shot at, like you can get away from the freighter quickly.
Gotcha. Okay.
Now with his 1, because he's now looking at the ship before you're starting to steer away from it, and Sova is looking out the window, kind of looking at as you just kind of pass through a couple hazy parts of the nebula cloud material. He notices markings on it that indicate that it is a civilian freighter.
Hmm.
so to inform the captain, that's not a military vessel. It's a civilian freighter.
I wonder what kind of information they would have.
Because we don't know. We don't know if they're trying to trade or if they're hiding from somebody else. We don't know. They could be on either
Yeah.
end or in the middle.
Yeah. Hmm. Are we close enough to hail them?
You have to get a
I
little bit closer, but you could.
would suggest scanning first so we know what we're hailing.
Okay, let's do that.
So to scan them, you will have to get pretty close.
Okay.
So that is a science control. You tell me how close you're getting to the freighter.
Just close enough.
Difficulty 2.
I have Starship Ops. I have a 15.
She's got the same as me. Can
Okay.
I
All
assist?
right.
Can I assist her?
Yeah, you can do science insight.
All right, 15. And
I
I'll roll
got
for the ship.
Yep, that's a 3. You have 1 success, Adrian?
I have 2
Oh,
successes.
2 successes
I have 0 successes.
for both things.
Yep.
So you scan the ship, Captain, and when you scan the ship, you notice that it has minimal power on it. It seems like basically life support, gravity, eating.
All right, so let's hail them then.
Unless they have personal comms that you're trying to contact, you cannot hail them.
Got it. Okay.
Which we can
Um,
try if you want to get close, we're like super close and try to
Yep,
do
you can get.
ham com to ham com.
Yep.
all right, I guess let's try that.
All right. If you're right up against it, that's engineering control, assisted by a 4, difficulty 1.
I have a 12.
I have a 12 as well.
Just be wary that they don't expect people to be talking English, which you would know. That's why I'm telling you. So go
Okay.
ahead, and I'll make a 19 or 20 a complication.
I roll for the ship. I did. Ship got a complication.
Okay.
I got no successes.
So you broadcast to the freighter, but you just get static. So here's what I'll give you. You can either waste 10 minutes, roll again,
Mm-hmm.
or spend 2 momentum.
I'm not spending 2 momentum. Let's waste 10 minutes and let me try it one more time.
Okay, go ahead and roll your engineering control.
I got 2 successes.
Nice. Well, you know what? We'll have you roll. We'll just have you roll for the vessel. Just see if you can roll a 4. What did you get?
I got a 19.
Did you? So as you're hailing the vessel, you notice that the shuttle gets scanned again.
Okay.
But this time, you feel like the space around the shuttle is being scanned, but not the shuttle itself. And you look out the up the port of the thing again, and you see another Klingon uh,
God,
ship going by.
there's a lot of Klingons up in here.
It seems like communication lines are open. So, what would you like to say?
So I have to talk like a Klingon would talk, right?
It would be easier for the universal translator to take your English words and make them Klingon if you speak like a Klingon.
So I would like to say Klingon freighter. Basically, I just want to be like, I'm looking for someone that I believe is on your ship.
Okay.
Like, answer my hail.
So your hail goes through, and they say, "What? Who? We're happy to hear from someone, but you said some strange words. They sounded like human speech."
What would I have said that sounds like human?
You had a complication.
And I would say, human. You must be in dire straits indeed.
Ah, our vessel hasn't worked in over a week, and the other Klingon vessels out here ignore us. They must believe us to be dead. Would you
Okay.
assist us on bringing us out of the nebula?
Yes, my crew is able to do that in exchange for information.
Of course. What?
Have you had any dealings with a Klingon captain named Gom'rok?
I have not dealt with him, but I'm aware of who he is. Why? Is that who you were looking for?
Perhaps he has brought dishonor upon my house.
Hmm. I had heard rumors that he was up to something, but you never know. These are just talks among the Klingon news networks. You never know what you can believe in those things. No, I don't know much about him. If you're willing to drag us out, obviously we'll hand over all of our information, but we don't have much out for you. We cut across this nebula trying to save time and bringing our blood wine to Pergios 6, but my navigator is quite stupid.
I would say, I killed mine last week for insubordination.
Hmm. I would do the same, but I need to get out of this nebula.
Okay.
So now you can do your science control difficulty 1 on the for bioscience.
two successes, so I'm banking
Yep.
another. Okay.
Okay. So you scan and you see 13 Klingon
Oh,
individuals who are.
sorry, I have a focus in bioscan, so I got
Oh,
another.
oh, okay, yeah,
Yeah. Now you
no
can keep.
problem. So you see 13 Klingons who are in a malnourished state, and then you see two other Klingons who are more malnourished.
I would inform the captain that they don't look good. It seems very
Okay.
likely that if nobody intervenes, they will die.
Okay. So I will say my shuttle is incapable of dragging your ship out.
I understand. If you could just let one of the officers at the security post at the outside of this nebula know these are my coordinates within the nebula, they could easily get me out.
I will do that. I
Thank you,
would.
Captain. I didn't catch your name. My name is Captain Chamak.
Mine is Captain Gowry.
Captain
Ooh.
Gowry. I've heard of you and your house Dokai before. I've never met you.
Well, if you would like to meet in person when you get out of this nebula, you may find me and board my ship and join my crew for dinner.
We are most hungry. We will take you up on that offer, Captain. You have been most hospitable, and all of the nasty things I have heard about your house are nothing but filthy lies.
Yes, indeed, but perhaps not all. Ha ha ha. God.
And he says, Chabak out.
Okay.
So he sends you his coordinates in the nebula. You don't have this, like again, it's basically like imagine somebody's planted a little green flag in a big open field and you're blindfolded, but there's like a slight whistling where the flag is. So that's kind of like what it is now. It's like it's marked and you know the general direction of it, but you don't actually know anything. Now, you don't know much about the nebula, and Gowry didn't tell you much about the nebula, but you're not sure how talking to a security post would deal with this. As you said, Klingons are not known to be charitable.
The
So,
best opportunity, I think, would be to have Gowry do it.
okay. You assure them that they will be rescued soon. They're not in dire straits, like they're going to die in the next day or two.
Right.
So doesn't overly matter that they're there. They're fine. They're just existing, slamming each other in the head, arm
Nice.
wrestling, just keeping themselves busy.
As one does.
So, which way are you going to keep going?
Let's continue the path we were going.
Okay.
No reason to deviate yet.
So, as you progress past the freighter and keep going, let's have Sova roll a science control 2.
Is this the same field as I've done before?
Yeah.
All right. So 15s. Is it a bioscan?
Nope.
Is it radiation, radioactivity?
Nope.
Okay. So I just got two successes then.
Okay. So, as you are looking through and what you can see on close proximity sensors, you see a facility floating in the nebula that is masked with cloud-like material. So it's like the nebula is here and like cloud-like material is passing through it and like shrouding it every so often.
Hmm. Fascinating.
What Sova sees is that there is a perimeter sensor array uh, before getting close enough to the facility.
Let's try to disable it.
Okay, you can either do a science reason difficulty 3, or you can do an extended task of engineering insight difficulty 2 in the track.
Science.
So that would be a 15 for me.
Okay, I'm a
Yeah.
14, so you go ahead.
Okay. So I'm buying a dice to roll three. Nothing of my like skeptical of bioscan, geology, radioactivity doesn't do anything, right?
No, no.
So I only got two. Then
So you see a little light come up on the dash as if the something is focusing on the shuttle.
can I try to disable it again or no?
You could try to say disable it again with the same with one less difficulty.
I'm gonna buy another dice. So I'll do three.
Okay, yep,
That I got three 11s. So that time I succeed.
perfect. So one momentum
So
back. So you disabled the sensor array, and you can now proceed to the facility undetected.
Nice
Now,
work, Mr. Sova.
now as you approach the facility, your options are you can either get out of the shuttle in a Klingon EVA suit and hack into one of these sensor arrays to gain ship codes. You can hope to just fly right towards the facility and dock, or you can get kind of close to the facility and hope no other ships are in that vicinity and scan the facility.
I like the codes because then we know we would be able to get a lot of information.
Yeah, that does seem tempting, doesn't it? Let's try that, yeah.
Okay. So who's going out?
So
Oh,
Because it's a nebula, so somebody's got to stay inside the shuttle to keep the shuttle like from not moving too much in the stream of movement.
would it be a science or an engineering test to get the codes?
So to basically hack it, it's going to be engineering, and then to download, it's going to be science,
seems
like
like you're the
to
best.
obtain the material. So it's going to be two separate roles.
Hmm.
So I mean science, I have a five, and engineering I have a two.
The first half is engineering fitness. The second half is science reason.
So it would be 11, 15 for me.
All right, you're up.
Okay.
So I'm going to do this to you, Sova, and I'm sorry. You go into the Klingon EVA thing.
Okay.
This thing feels like it's never been washed.
Oh boy.
And there are
Sure.
many, 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 many different things on the inside of the visor.
That's so
Oh,
gross.
yep. Horrifying.
Yes. You also have to don it too, Captain, because he's opening it to the exposure of the nebula.
Yay.
It is also as putrid, but just because Sova's a Vulcan, it's extra putrid.
Right,
Yep.
right, of course.
So you hear that pressure pop in your ears, and the doors open, and Sova is on like a tether cord, like an umbilical,
Yeah.
and he floats out to this like sensor buoy. And so it's engineering fitness, difficulty two,
Okay.
to
That was
dismantle it and get the guts of it opened. And then once that's successful, it's then a science
yeah.
reason, difficulty two again to download, but that roll has a 17 to 20 complication.
Okay. So I'm gonna buy an extra dice to do the engineering fitness, which is a 12.
Yep,
All right. I got three successes.
perfect.
Nice.
So one momentum back.
Okay.
So you take all these like really rudimentary, kind of like Fisher Price looking Klingon tools and go like bee, 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 bee.
Does it make like the squishing noise as I'm the doo or
Oh, I know what you're
the
talking about. Yeah, yeah, yeah. When they bonk on each other. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yep.
Hmm.
He undoes it, pulls the panel free. Now it's probably not a great idea to let it float
Okay.
like away from it.
Yes.
So you kind of like pin yourself up against the thing with the casing,
Hmm.
and you can see all of this Klingon nonsense, like machinery inside of it. You're ever so slightly familiar with it due to being on the bridge of the Qel'thoq. But other
Okay.
than that, you're hoping. You're hoping that these things make sense, hence why the complication range is so large.
Okay.
So that's science reason, difficulty 2, 17 to 20 complication.
Mhm. Here we go. Ooh, darn it. So I got a 3, a 12, and a 17. So
That's 2 successes, right?
and a 17, which you said was a complication, right?
So I can what's basically going to happen is that you'll get ship codes, but
But
they're
I'll
going to
be
know somebody hacked the system.
okay. Can I use 2 momentum to cancel it?
You absolutely can.
Okay. I will use 2 to so we're down to 2 momentum now.
So what happens is you're downloading onto a Klingon pad the ship codes, and as you're looking, you're seeing that somebody must be monitoring this interaction. Somebody must have caught that like there's a download happening at this thing, and you use Vulcan coding to basically like block them
Hmm.
so that they can see that there was a download, but that's about it. They have no idea where the download was coming from. They don't know it's coming from a sensor thing. They just saw that somebody downloaded ship codes unauthorized, but they have no idea where. So you're not like in trouble. And you pretty much encrypted it so that they have no chance of, figuring it out. Sova gets back into the shuttle, seals the thing. I'm gonna say he gets out of that thing as quickly as possible.
And just throw it across the room. Just no.
And the shuttle has repressurized after he before he takes his helmet off, and he shows the pad to you, Captain. And on the pad, there are several regular routine like security ships in here that have come and gone. There's freighter ships that have come in and out. But there is a ship called the CO apostrophe QR Coker that is marked as like a high tier ship.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
that draws your attention and that you see that is labeled as Captain Gom'rok's. He captains that ship.
Okay.
And it has come to and from this facility many times.
This is enough to find him, isn't it? Or no?
It's enough to know that the ship does exist
Hmm.
and to know generally what it is, like what the make of the ship is, but it is not enough to necessarily know where he is at the moment.
Okay. No, I mean to find him because we would know.
You know more about his ship.
Yeah.
I feel like it's enough to at least bring back to Gowry, right?
I mean, yeah, I would think so.
Yeah.
Unless we can, yeah, because the only other thing is basically finding the ship to get more information.
Right. So can you tell me that, Game Master? Is this enough to bring back to Gowry, or do I still need to search more?
Well, you don't know his destination. You could use it to scan, but like if his warp signature isn't present, then you're not going to find him.
So I need to know where he was going. All right, I guess let's try to go in here. Mm,
Oh,
I don't want to do this, but I don't see what other choice we have.
so would you like to just mash right into the docking port or scan it before you board?
Let's scan. Let's always try to be safe and scan.
Can we hide ourselves? Yeah.
You can either do a science control difficulty 2 scan of the base with a complication range of 18, 19, 20,
Okay.
or you can spend 2 momentum and I'll drop that down to a 1, or you can roll a con presence difficulty 1 and get that sweet spot and I'll negate the complication range but keep the difficulty.
I'll do the difficulty 2.
Difficulty 2 with the complication range?
Yep. It's the same field though, right? Because I'm scanning again. So
Yeah.
I
Yep.
get a free dice.
Yep.
Here we go. Oh, three successes.
Awesome. So
Oh.
one momentum back. So you scan the facility. It is 4 tiers. The layout includes weapon development bays, storage bays, command centers, and like areas of holding. It is heavily guarded. There are multiple Klingons on it, and the facility itself has many defenses.
Oh boy.
You can also tell from your scans that some parts of it have unstable power, have either radiation leaks or there's some chemical storage that is hazardous.
Is there any spots where there's not a lot of biosigns?
There is a general path from the shuttle bay that you could potentially take, but it would have to be calculated.
I think that's our best option.
Yeah, seems like it.
There is a much easier route to just obviously come out of the shuttle bay and just like walk down the hallway,
Hmm.
but you'll get caught by a lot of things.
Yeah, we
Yes.
don't want to get caught. So,
And you would have to do a lot of computer work to make that not be a thing.
okay. Sounds like we know what we're doing then.
Nothing seems to have alerted that the facility found that to be suspicious. So you move ahead to the facility and dock,
Okay.
and you latch into the shuttle bay, and you see one Klingon guard not facing the shuttle, but he's in the shuttle bay.
Okay.
And that's it.
So is it close enough for me to do a minor action to walk up to him?
You can easily exit the shuttle and get probably within a few steps of him, but it's going to take a couple minutes because it's going to take a minute to exit the shuttle, get down
Hmm.
onto like the launch area, and then walk to him. He is not really close to the shuttle.
Oh, boy.
He's like looking at a pad, and he is like sort of facing the exit of the door. He's kind of if my camera is the door, he's like this looking at a pad.
So my only thought is either basically try to bum rush him, or we have the translator, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Could we have Adria use her persuasion to be like, hey, I need help with this to get him to come
pull
in?
a pull a Han Solo stormtrooper thing
Yep,
where he calls them up onto the Millennium Falcon.
yep.
Wow. By all means.
So I want to be like in the corner where he can't see when he enters.
Okay.
And I would suggest for the captain, if she wants to do this, to basically be like sitting at the council or hiding somewhere so he can see a person, but he doesn't know, that they're not Klingon.
So I'm gonna yell out to him. He's gonna come in and then you're gonna neck pinch him.
Yep, that's my plan.
I love it. All right, let's do it.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna yell out.
So command presence, difficulty 2.
We have three momentum if you need to use one.
Can I use a value for once in my life?
You most certainly can if it
Can
applies.
can I use my value think before you act?
Yeah, it's broad enough that I'll let it be.
Heck yeah, it is. All right. So I'm gonna yell out, "Hey you, patah!"
Perfect.
So much momentum. I would have gotten 2 successes.
Okay, so did you just get 2 successes?
Yeah.
Well, you
You have
have
two momentum.
two momentum.
Here we go.
Yay.
So you shout from the shuttle with the universal translator. It comes out very clearly,
Mhm,
and he
mhm.
whips his head around and he growls, and he starts marching over to the thing, and he's like, "Who's there? Who said that? Come out and face me. Talk to me now." And he's walking towards the shuttle. I can't believe you said that to me. Don't you know who I am? And he gets to the slight opening of the shuttle. He hasn't quite gone in, and he says, "Come out! Come out!"
So he's not entering,
He didn't come all the way in.
but it's enough for me to grab him, right?
If you reached out, he's gonna see you.
Yeah.
I'll say again, I'll say, come and find me, fatty.
And he's like, "Oh, what?" He doesn't know what the word fatty. You can clearly see he's confused with the word fatty. The universal translator doesn't do a great job at that. He's just like, "What?" And he comes on the shuttle, and
Can I grab him now?
yeah,
All right, so
he's
I want
not
to grab
facing
him.
you. He's facing the cockpit.
Yes. So this is right?
Yeah, this is he is not suspecting this. So because of her value and this, I will let you it's still gonna be difficulty two, but I'll let you re-roll.
Okay. So I'm going to buy an extra dice
Okay.
with the momentum. Ooh, I rolled a 20.
Oh my
I can
God.
re-roll, right?
You can re-roll, yep.
Re-roll all of them or re-roll what? One dice?
Re-roll one dice.
Re-roll one dice. Okay. All right. So I got 3 successes because I can use a focus on hand to hand.
Okay, so that's one momentum back.
Okay.
He comes in and he says that. You turn just in time to watch because you have your like laser weapon out or whatever. You're ready to get him, jump him, whatever. And you watch Sova go to get him, but he has like Klingon armor on. And then there's a moment where you think, "Uh-oh," but then he just pushes in closer to his neck and drops him.
Nice.
You hear him go, "Ah," and then
Mhm.
he just collapses to the ground.
So
We
tie
need to
up the
hide the
body,
body. Yeah.
tie him
What
up and hide
Well,
him.
tie up the body? Okay.
don't let Andrew and I out in the real world together, apparently, because we're both like, oh, let's tie the body and hide him. Let's kill him. Let's
Yep.
Okay, so you tie the body and you leave him
Yeah.
on the shuttle.
Yeah. But it hidden,
Okay,
but,
yeah, no, I understand. Yeah, I'm not trying to be funny. I just wasn't sure where you
yeah.
were putting
No, no, we're gonna prop him up like right in the doorway.
it.
Yes.
Okay. Anything else?
Let's search his body.
Okay, he has a disruptor, he has a
Okay,
communicator,
I'm taking both of them.
and he has his pad that he was holding.
Okay,
All right.
let's take the pad.
And he has several blades on him.
Okay, let's have Sova look at the pad and see if he can find out any information from that. And I want the disruptor.
Okay.
Shall we take the knives too? Just we're
Might as
ransacking
well.
him. We're
Might as
ransacking
well.
him.
But he
Okay.
has a blade in each boot.
Okay.
He
Wow.
has a blade on each side of his hip, and he has a makeshift blade in his collar piece. Like it almost looks like a necklace, but it's really just a concealed blade.
So, do you want any blades, Adrian?
Nah, because I got the
Okay.
disruptor.
So what I'm thinking is I want to take all the blades off and put them like in a storage thing. But does he have the one that does the,
Yes,
so I want that one because
like a
that's
the
like a,
tang or something like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's like a symbolic thing. So I figured if
Yeah.
nothing else, it's a useful distraction.
Yeah. So
Nice.
obviously it's a little bit more simple because it's like Enterprise era, but it's the one that you're talking about.
Yes.
Give me an engineering control difficulty one.
I have a 12. What do you have, Adrian?
Engineering is one, control is yeah, I have a 12 too. So
Do you want to do it or do you want me
uh,
to do?
you can do it. It's fine, baby.
All right. I did not succeed.
Okay, can I try now?
Yep.
Did not either.
So you look at the pad, you plug in the universal translator to like translate the pad,
Okay.
but the universal translator is not able to basically translate what the buttons and what the screen wording is. But you can generally see like he was reading something, but you could navigate and try to maybe find something useful on the pad. But it would be
I
kind of just
mean,
like poking buttons and not knowing what you're doing.
I just wonder if it has any information on it that could be useful. I feel like at the very least, let's just take it with us and have Gowry look at it.
Because I was thinking if we just want Gowrie to read it, we could just leave it in the shuttle.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'll stick with the knives in the shuttle.
Nice.
So you keep the one, you put the rest of his blades in the storage.
Yep.
You've taken the disruptor, Captain. I think this is a good place to end it. You guys are about to enter the facility and like examine
Okay.
what's going on, and obviously this will take a minute. You have a choice. There's two doors in here. Now, from Sova's preliminary scans, the door ahead leads to the main hallway.
Okay.
And going down the main hallway will immediately go into a command center where it is assumed a lot of information could be downloaded. Sova feels that that main central command area would have a lot of answers.
Okay.
The second door goes to like a corridor that goes into a maintenance area. And from that maintenance area, you can get into a ventilation system.
Can I do a bioscan?
Yeah,
All right. I mean, it's the same. Is it the same field? So I can.
it's science control, same field, difficulty one.
Okay. I got two successes.
Okay, so one momentum.
Yeah.
So you scan, and there is nobody in the right hand door through that corridor to the maintenance area. There's nobody in that area. It is a closed off area.
Okay.
You can only enter from the shuttle bay. The
Yes.
other hallway has two teams of security guards of four patrolling up and down lower parts of the hallway, but they seem to be walking generally the length of this hallway. And there are three Klingons at the command console.
Hmm.
So I think we're gonna have to go maintenance.
Yeah. Unless we want to have some real fun.
So the only thing I'll tell you, because you both would know this, being Starfleet officers, the only thing that probably the good idea to do is to put on the EVA suits so that security cameras don't see a Vulcan and a human walking off of the
Mm.
shuttle.
Yes. I see
So
you know
so
your
they can
Tudo
keep
well.
this.
Yes.
Yep, that's a very good idea, Sir William.
As you clip it and you seal it and you hear that air pressure seal, you begin to question why you're doing this in the first place. So we will get into the facility part two next time,
Very nice.
where Lieutenant Sova and Captain Knightley begin to search the facility and determine what the nature of this facility is, and possibly even find Gom'rok.
Um,
To make it official, we have full momentum right now.
Full momentum. Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.